When we talk about success, people often ask, what's the secret? But the truth is, success is not about luck. It's about skill, and skills are learned. Nobody is born with talent fully formed. We learn, we fail, we practice, and we grow. That's how you build your life, one skill at a time. When I started Alibaba, I didn't know anything about computers. I had never written a line of code in my life. But I was curious. I wanted to understand. So I started learning. Curiosity is the beginning of all learning. When you are curious, you open your mind to new possibilities that others cannot see. Many people stop learning because they think they already know enough. But when you believe you know everything, you stop growing. I always tell young people, never lose your curiosity. Curiosity is like the fuel in a car. Without it, you go nowhere. When I first saw the internet in 1995, I had no idea what it was. Someone told me to type something, so I typed the word beer. I saw American beer, German beer, Japanese beer, but no Chinese beer. That moment changed my life. I didn't understand how this thing worked, but my curiosity made me want to learn more. It made me think, why not build something for China? That simple question, born out of curiosity, became the seed of Alibaba. When you are curious, you start asking questions that others ignore. Most people just accept what they are told. They follow the system, follow the crowd, and never wonder why things are the way they are. But curiosity makes you a creator, not just a consumer. If you want to learn a new skill, you must start by asking questions. Why is it done this way? Can there be a better way? What if I try something different? Every great innovation, every new idea, every new skill starts from someone who dared to ask. When I learned English, it wasn't because I had a great teacher or a school with fancy books. It was because I was curious about foreigners visiting my city. I wanted to talk to them to understand their culture. So every morning, I would wake up early and go to the Hangzhou hotel where tourists stayed. I offered them free tours just so I could practice English. I learned through curiosity, not from a classroom. Curiosity gives learning meaning. When you learn something only because someone told you to, it becomes boring. But when you learn because you genuinely want to know, it becomes exciting. You look forward to every discovery. That's why children learn so fast. They are naturally curious. They ask thousands of questions a day. But as we grow up, society teaches us to stop asking and start following. We become afraid of looking stupid. We stop exploring. We stop learning. If you want to master any new skill, you must return to that childlike curiosity. Don't be afraid to be a beginner. Don't be afraid to ask silly questions. Every expert was once a curious child. Curiosity also keeps you motivated when things get hard. Every skill looks easy until you try it. When you face difficulties, curiosity keeps you going. It makes you wonder, what will happen if I continue? What can I discover next? This mindset turns frustration into fascination. I remember when I started learning about technology and business, many people laughed at me. They said, Jack, you don't even know how to type. How can you build an internet company? But I was curious to see how technology could change the world. That curiosity gave me strength to keep learning even when I failed again and again. The best learners are not the smartest people, but the most curious ones. Smart people often give up when they don't succeed quickly because they are used to being right. Curious people don't care about being right. They care about discovering. When you approach learning with curiosity, failure doesn't scare you. Mistakes become lessons. Every time you fail, you learn something new. You start seeing failure as part of the process, not the end of it. That is how curiosity transforms your attitude toward learning. In today's world, skills become outdated very fast. The job you have today might not exist in 10 years. The only way to stay relevant is to keep learning. And the only way to keep learning for life is to stay curious. Curiosity pushes you to explore new technologies, new ideas, and new opportunities. It helps you adapt to change. People who are curious are never stuck. They are always growing. They don't wait for someone to teach them. They go and find out for themselves. When you learn a new skill, don't just focus on the result. Focus on the process, the excitement of discovering something new. Enjoy the small moments when you finally understand something that was confusing yesterday. Celebrate the progress, no matter how small. That joy is what keeps curiosity alive. The moment you stop being curious, you stop improving. So always ask, always explore, always stay hungry for knowledge. The world belongs to those who keep wondering why and how, even when others think they already know the answers. When you begin learning a new skill, one of the hardest things to do is to admit that you don't know. People often fail at learning not because they are incapable, but because they are too proud to be beginners. Humility is the foundation of growth. When you are humble, you accept that you are starting from zero. You don't pretend to know. You open yourself to learning from everyone and everything around you. When I was young, I was not a good student. I failed many times in school, and I failed university exams twice. Many people laughed at me, but those failures taught me humility. They taught me that if I wanted to move forward, I had to listen, observe, and learn. When you are humble, you become teachable, and that is the most powerful mindset for learning any new skill. In the early days of Alibaba, I knew nothing about technology. I didn't know how computers worked. I didn't know coding, and I didn't understand e-commerce. But I was humble enough to say, I don't know, but I can learn. I surrounded myself with people who were smarter than me. My job was not to act like an expert, but to learn from the experts. Many young people today want to be leaders before they are learners. They want respect before experience. But if you cannot be a good learner, you will never be a good leader. Humility gives you the courage to ask questions that might seem simple. It helps you accept feedback without ego. It allows you to grow faster because you are not wasting energy trying to look perfect. When you start learning something new, you will often meet people who know more than you. Instead of feeling insecure, use that as an opportunity. Ask them to teach you. Watch how they work. Listen carefully to their advice. Every person you meet knows something you don't. The humble person understands that everyone can be a teacher. Even a mistake can be a teacher if you are willing to learn from it. The problem is that most people listen to reply, not to understand. When you are humble, you listen with an open mind. You accept that others may know better, and that acceptance accelerates your learning. Being humble also means letting go of the need to be right. Many people stop learning because they can't accept being wrong. They defend their old habits, their old ways of thinking, and they never improve. But learning demands that you challenge your own assumptions. It means saying, maybe the way I've been doing this is not the best way. That's hard, especially when you have some experience or success. But the moment you think you're too good to learn, you start to decline. I've seen big companies fail because their leaders became arrogant. They stopped listening to their employees, to their customers, to the market. Humility is what keeps you grounded even when you succeed. It reminds you that there's always more to learn. When I was learning English as a young man, I didn't have money to take classes. My classroom was the streets of Hangzhou. I offered tourists free city tours just to practice speaking. I made many mistakes. My pronunciation was terrible, my grammar was bad, and sometimes people laughed at me. But I didn't care because I was humble enough to keep trying. Every conversation taught me something new. If I had been too proud to make mistakes, I would never have learned English. Humility allows you to accept embarrassment as part of the journey. When you are not afraid to look foolish, you grow faster than those who are always trying to look smart. In today's world, knowledge is everywhere. You can learn anything on the internet, but information alone is not enough. You need the humility to absorb it. You need to approach learning with the attitude of a beginner, even if you are experienced. I tell my team at Alibaba, the moment we think we are experts, that's the moment we lose. Because experts stop listening. Experts stop experimenting. Humble learners, on the other hand, stay curious and open-minded. They adapt to change. They see every failure as a lesson and every success as a reminder to stay grateful. Humility also builds stronger relationships while learning. When you respect others' knowledge, they are more willing to help you. People naturally want to share what they know with those who listen sincerely. If you walk around thinking you're smarter than everyone else, you'll end up learning nothing from anyone. But if you show genuine respect and gratitude, the world becomes your university. The internet becomes your library. Every person becomes a book waiting to be read. Learning a new skill is not a competition, it's a journey. And on that journey, humility is your map. It keeps you from getting lost in ego and helps you stay focused on progress. It doesn't matter how old you are, how successful you are, or how educated you are. There's always something new to learn. When you are humble, you never stop growing. When you think you know it all, your growth ends. Consistency is the real secret behind mastering any new skill. Many people start with excitement but end with excuses. They begin with energy but give up when things become boring or difficult. The truth is, learning something new is never about how fast you start. It's about how long you keep going. I have seen countless talented people fail, not because they lack intelligence, but because they lack consistency. The world rewards those who show up every day, not those who show up only when they feel motivated. If you want to learn a skill, you must practice it regularly, even when you don't feel like it. Success is built by small, consistent actions that seem insignificant at first, but compound over time into something extraordinary. When I was learning English, I didn't have the luxury of the internet or language apps. My classroom was the street, my teachers were tourists, and my practice was daily conversation. Every morning I would ride my bicycle for 40 minutes to the Hangzhou hotel just to talk to foreigners. Some days I was tired. Some days I made so many mistakes that I wanted to give up, but I kept showing up again and again. That's what consistency looks like. It's not glamorous. It's not exciting. It's doing the same thing over and over, even when nobody notices. Over time, that practice changed everything. My English improved, my confidence grew, and one day, the skills I built through repetition opened doors I never imagined. Consistency trains not just your skills, but your mind. When you commit to a routine, you develop discipline. Discipline is doing what you must do, even when you don't want to. You might not see results immediately, but every small effort adds up. It's like planting seeds. If you water them daily, one day they will grow. But if you water them for 2 days and stop for 5, the plant dies. Learning works the same way. Many people give up too soon because they can't see the progress they're making. They think nothing is happening. But growth often happens quietly, behind the scenes, until one day it becomes visible. The ones who keep going through the silent phases are the ones who succeed. The biggest enemy of consistency is the desire for instant results. In today's world, everyone wants fast success. They watch a few videos, read a few tips, and expect mastery. But real skill takes time. You can't rush it. You can't hack it. The violinist practices for years before playing a beautiful song. The athlete trains for thousands of hours before winning a medal. The entrepreneur fails dozens of times before building a successful business. Consistency is what transforms amateurs into professionals. When I started Alibaba, we faced hundreds of problems. Many days I wanted to quit, but I reminded myself and my team that success doesn't come from doing big things once. It comes from doing small things consistently. Step by step, we built something that lasted. Another truth about consistency is that it builds trust in yourself. Every day that you show up, you prove to your own mind that you are serious. You strengthen your self-belief. People often think motivation creates consistency, but it's the other way around. When you stay consistent, motivation grows naturally. Each small win gives you energy to keep going. Consistency is like momentum. It starts slowly, but becomes unstoppable once it builds. When you learn a new skill, you will face days when you don't see progress, when everything feels difficult. That's when consistency matters the most. Showing up when it's hard is what separates the dreamers from the doers. Consistency also teaches you patience. You learn to value the process rather than just the result. The world celebrates outcomes, but the process is where true growth happens. When you practice every day, even without applause, you are building invisible strength. One day, that strength will show. I always tell young people, don't chase perfection, chase progress. Do a little better today than you did yesterday. Even 1% improvement daily makes you 37 times better in a year. That's the power of consistency. Another important aspect is balance. Consistency doesn't mean working until you burn out. It means creating a sustainable rhythm. You don't have to study for 8 hours every day. Even 30 minutes daily done with focus is better than 10 hours done once a month. The brain learns better with repetition. The body adapts better with regular effort. You must find your pace and stick to it. Success is not a sprint, it's a marathon. The people who endure are the ones who pace themselves wisely. Finally, consistency builds reputation. When others see that you are reliable, disciplined, and committed, they begin to trust you. In business, in relationships, and in personal growth, consistency creates credibility. People respect those who show up again and again. More importantly, you begin to respect yourself. You stop making excuses because you've proven to yourself that you can follow through. You don't need to be the best from the start. You just need to be the one who never gives up. Over time, consistency beats talent, luck, and intelligence. It's the invisible bridge that connects where you are now to where you want to be. Patience is one of the most underrated skills in the process of learning. Everyone wants to learn fast, achieve fast, and succeed fast. But the truth is, real learning takes time. You cannot rush it, just like you cannot rush the sunrise. Everything meaningful grows slowly. When you learn a new skill, there will be times when you feel like nothing is happening. You will feel frustrated because your effort doesn't seem to match your progress. That is when patience becomes your greatest strength. Most people give up not because they can't learn, but because they can't wait. They expect results too quickly, and when they don't see them, they lose hope. But patience is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. When I started Alibaba, I had no idea it would take so many years to see results. In the beginning, nobody believed in us. We had no money, no technology, no experience. We only had belief and patience. For years, we worked with no profits, no recognition. Many of my friends quit. But I told my team, today is hard, tomorrow will be worse, but the day after tomorrow will be beautiful. The problem is, most people die tomorrow night. They don't survive long enough to see the beautiful day. That's the truth about patience. It's the ability to keep going when nothing seems to work. Learning a skill is the same. Whether you're learning to play guitar, code a website, or speak a new language, there will be a time when you feel stuck. The first few days are exciting, but after a few weeks, the excitement fades and boredom sets in. That's the test of patience. The people who keep practicing during that boring phase are the ones who reach mastery. Patience doesn't mean sitting still and doing nothing. It means continuing with faith, even when progress is invisible. Every day you practice. Even if you don't see improvement, something is changing inside you. Your brain is making new connections. Your muscles are adapting. Your understanding is deepening. But this growth is quiet. You can't always see it, but it's happening. I've met many young people who want quick success. They tell me, Jack, I want to be rich in 2 years. I laugh and say, then you don't want to be rich. You want to be lucky. Anything built quickly is weak. Anything that grows slowly becomes strong. Think about a tree. It takes years for it to grow roots deep enough to stand tall in the wind. Learning is no different. Patience helps you build roots. It gives you the strength to handle challenges later. Without patience, your skill will be shallow. You might learn a few tricks, but you won't truly understand what you're doing. Mastery requires time, repetition, and resilience. Patience also protects you from frustration. When you expect results instantly, you set yourself up for disappointment. But when you understand that progress is gradual, you stop comparing yourself to others. You focus on your own journey. Everyone learns at a different pace. Comparing your day 1 to someone else's year 5 is unfair. Patience teaches you to respect your process. You start to enjoy the learning itself instead of constantly worrying about the outcome. That mindset turns pressure into peace. You no longer rush, you grow with purpose. When I was younger, I failed many exams. I was rejected by 30 companies, even KFC. I felt embarrassed and hopeless at times, but those experiences taught me patience. They showed me that rejection is not the end. It's just part of the path. Life was preparing me for something bigger. If I had given up after my failures, there would be no Alibaba today. Patience allowed me to see failure as feedback, not defeat. That same principle applies when you learn a skill. Every mistake is feedback, not failure. Every slow day is preparation, not punishment. The more patient you are, the stronger your foundation becomes. Another thing people misunderstand about patience is that it's not passive. It's not about waiting for things to happen. It's about working steadily while believing that your time will come. Patience is active persistence. It's the ability to work hard every day without demanding immediate reward. Many people work only when they see progress, but real learners keep working even when progress is invisible. That is where transformation happens. The ones who practice in silence, who keep improving when no one is watching, are the ones who eventually shine in front of everyone. In a world of instant gratification, patience is becoming rare. We scroll through short videos, chase quick tips, and expect miracles. But anything worth mastering cannot be compressed into a few minutes. If you truly want to learn something valuable, you must be ready to invest time, energy, and patience. Every skill has layers, and each layer reveals itself only when you are ready. You can't jump to mastery without living through the stages of struggle and slow progress. Those stages build your character as much as your ability. Patience is not weakness, it's wisdom. It teaches you to trust the process and respect time. It helps you understand that progress delayed is not progress denied. You may not see the fruit today, but if you keep nurturing your effort, one day the results will surprise you. When you decide to learn something new, one of the first lessons you must accept is that failure will be part of the journey. Many people are afraid to start because they don't want to fail, but that fear itself is what keeps them from growing. No one in the world has ever learned a new skill without making mistakes. When you were a child learning to walk, you fell hundreds of times before taking your first step. But you didn't quit because you didn't even know what quitting was. You got up and tried again. That is the natural way of learning. As we grow older, we become too concerned about looking foolish, about being judged, about failing in front of others. And that fear kills our potential. Failure is not something to avoid, it is something to embrace. It is the best teacher you will ever have. When I was a young man, I failed more times than I can count. I failed my university entrance exams twice. I was rejected by 30 jobs, including one at KFC. Even when I started my company, Alibaba, we faced rejection from investors, criticism from the media, and doubts from our own people. But every time I failed, I learned something new. I learned patience, resilience, and creativity. Failure taught me what success could not. You see, success makes you comfortable, but failure makes you grow. If you only chase success, you will stop learning the moment you win. But if you learn to love failure, you will keep improving for the rest of your life. When you are learning a new skill, failure is not proof that you are bad. It's proof that you are trying. Every mistake shows you one more way that doesn't work. That is how progress happens. Think about how Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. He failed thousands of times, but he said, "I didn't fail. I just found 10,000 ways that don't work." That mindset is what separates achievers from quitters. Most people stop at their first few failures because they think failure means the end. But the truth is, failure is just feedback. It's the universe telling you, try again, but differently this time. Every time you fail and reflect, you get smarter, more skilled, and more prepared for success. The reason most people don't learn new skills is because they can't handle the discomfort that comes with failure. They want progress to feel easy. But learning anything worthwhile is supposed to be uncomfortable. Discomfort is a sign that you're growing. When you start something new, whether it's learning a language, playing an instrument, or building a business, you will make mistakes. You will look foolish. You will doubt yourself. But if you push through those moments, you'll find confidence on the other side. Confidence is not built from success, it's built from surviving failure. Failure also builds character. It teaches you humility, empathy, and gratitude. When you fail, you understand how hard success really is, and that makes you respect others who are on their own journeys. Failure makes you more human. It keeps your ego in check and your heart open. I have met many young entrepreneurs who want to skip the failure part and go straight to success. They read stories of billionaires and think they can copy their results overnight. But what they don't see is the years of struggle, the sleepless nights, the mistakes, the rejection, and the heartbreak behind that success. Every big dream requires big failures along the way. When I started Alibaba, we made many wrong decisions. We trusted the wrong people, we launched ideas that didn't work, and sometimes we lost everything we had. But each failure gave us experience that no business school could teach. It taught us what customers really wanted, how to work as a team, and how to stay calm when everything went wrong. Without those failures, we would not have survived. That's why I always tell young people, don't fear failure. Fear not learning from failure. A mistake repeated twice is a choice, but a mistake learned from once becomes wisdom. Another reason to welcome failure is that it builds resilience. When you fail and get back up, you train your mind to stay strong. You stop expecting life to be easy, and you start focusing on being stronger. Resilience is the muscle that carries you through hard times. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Every skill, every craft, every dream demands resilience. The ones who succeed are not those who never fall, but those who always rise after falling. Failure is also where innovation begins. When something doesn't work, it forces you to think differently. It pushes you to find new solutions. That's how creativity is born. If everything worked perfectly the first time, you would never discover better ways to do things. Failure keeps you curious and hungry. It makes you adapt, improve, and evolve. Without failure, progress would stop. So when you are learning something new and you fail, don't hide it. Don't be ashamed of it. Wear it proudly. Each failure is a badge of effort. It shows that you had the courage to try. Remember, the only real failure is quitting. As long as you are learning, you are succeeding. The world belongs to those who fail often but never stop improving.